The mayor of San Diego and the police chief are now heading to the podium as we get the very latest on the shooting in University City. Let's listen to first Mayor Kevin Faulconer as he gives us the very latest.
Good morning. As you can see, we're joined by our Chief of Police Shelley Zimmerman, our Rescue Chief Brian Fennessy, Councilmember Barbara Bree, and of course our command team for both our Fire Rescue and San Diego Police Department. First and foremost, the incredible outpouring of support for San Diegans, for the victims and their families. Thank you. As we've seen our community come together over the last night in morning hours. I'm going to have the chief give an update here in just a second on obviously what transpired and some of the latest. I cannot say enough about the incredible heroic actions that happened yesterday on behalf of our public safety personnel, who you're going to hear some in just a second. The men and women that were there, our fire rescue department that was on scene providing aid, of course our police department, and the truly quick actions, quick responses, and the decisions that they made, as I said last night, that absolutely precluded further bloodshed. It was remarkable teamwork and effort under extraordinary circumstances yesterday. I also again want to thank all of the members of our medical teams in several different hospitals, been working around the clock last night to provide that care to the victims. As I said, the chief is going to give an update here in just a second. And of course, our police department and our investigators worked the entire night last night and are continuing to this morning to give you the update and the information you need. I'll end where I began as well, to thank San Diegans for their incredible outpouring of support for the victims and their families coming together as one community, and to thank again our men and women yesterday who did heroic actions in very difficult and a horrific situation. They responded to the task. Let me turn it over to Police Chief Shelley Zimmerman.
Thank you, Mayor. What I'd like to do now is go through a timeline as we know it. Again, information may change as we continue with our investigation, but this is what we know so far. At 6:06 p.m., our police department communications division received a call that 2 people were shot near the pool area of a condominium complex at 9045 Judicial Drive. A second caller right at that about that same time called and said that they heard 5 to 7 gunshots and that neighbors were yelling and that someone was outside with a gun. Continued to get additional calls that were coming in. Our officers were dispatched en route to the scene. Again, more callers were calling in and saying that they saw a suspect that was loading a gun in the pool area. We also made sure that our fire rescue department was made aware of that situation and to start dispatching units to Judicial Drive. Over the span of the next 6 minutes, from about 6:07 to about 6:13 p.m., about 20 officers, including our helicopter, were dispatched to that scene. Additional callers called in and said that saw numerous people, at least 3 to 4 victims that were down in the pool area and that they had been shot, and that the suspect was a white male in his 40s. Again, over the next several minutes, multiple callers continued to call into our communication center. At 6:13 hours, our helicopter and our ground units arrived on scene within a few seconds of each other. Our helicopter saw that the suspect was in the pool area and that he had a weapon, was armed with a weapon. The helicopter, our Able, directed our ground units to where the suspect was located in the pool area, and as our officers approached the pool area, the suspect fired his weapon at one of our sergeants that was the first to arrive on scene with 2 additional officers as they approached the pool area on front. The suspect continued to fire his weapon and point his gun at officers, and 3 of the officers, our sergeant and 2 of our officers, shot towards the suspect, striking him, and the suspect was pronounced deceased at the scene. And again, I want to reiterate with Mayor Faulconer that all of our hearts, I tell you, go out to the victims, their families, and to all who know every single one of them. And what, started as a celebration of a friend's birthday party turned into a tragic of epic, a tragedy of just epic proportion for all those in attendance at the pool party. And I'll say that our investigators worked through the night to begin the process of understanding why the suspect, who we have identified as Peter Raymond Sellis, chose to shoot indiscriminately at this group of people and those around in the pool area. Now, what we have learned so far is in the few days prior to this senseless act of violence, Sellis and his girlfriend had broken off their relationship. Family members described Sellis as distraught and depressed over this breakup. Now, while they had no idea that he would resort to any kind of violence, let alone shooting at innocent victims, based on the information that we have gathered so far, our investigators, it is very clear that Sellis was despondent over the breakup of his girlfriend. Sellis does live in the complex, and he entered the pool area and he laid on a lounge chair. And while he was there, he took out a cell phone and he called his ex-girlfriend. Sellis told his ex-girlfriend that he had just shot 2 people and that the police had arrived on scene. Sellis stayed on the phone talking to his ex-girlfriend as he continued to fire his weapon. It is apparent that Sellis wanted his ex-girlfriend to listen in as he carried out his rampage. The victims just happened to be present at the moment in time when Sellis decided to carry out this spontaneous act of violence. There is zero information to indicate that race played a factor in this terrible and horrific crime. The victims were targeted for no other reason but their mere presence in the vicinity of the suspect. Investigators do not believe that Sellis planned out this tragedy, except to say that he made a terrible choice to commit unspeakable violence in the moment when the victims were just mere feet from him. I'll tell you, I want to, really just take a moment to acknowledge the heroic actions of our first responding police officers, security personnel, who were able to ensure that the suspect was not able to victimize more people. I would also like to thank and acknowledge the police officers, the firefighters and paramedics, and the security personnel who brought several victims to a place of safety and to immediately render first aid. Also, doctors and the medical professionals, I tell you, they worked throughout the night and continue to work through to make sure that the victims are cared for, and we continue to pray for all the victims. The latest update that we have on the victims, and thankfully, this is excellent news, and please continue to pray for the victims. Although 2 are still listed in critical condition, they are stable, and we believe that all are expected to survive, which is just great news. It's time to turn over to Councilmember Bree.
Thank you. Great. Good morning. As a mother and a grandmother, I can't think of anything more devastating than losing a loved one to senseless gun violence. I offer my deepest condolences to the family of the victim who passed away as a result of yesterday's tragic shooting at La Jolla Crossroads. I'm sending my thoughts and prayers to the other victims currently receiving medical care. Thank you to the San Diego Police Department for braving gunfire to prevent additional casualties, and also to the dedicated emergency responders and medical personnel who worked diligently throughout the night to care for the wounded. Public safety is the #1 responsibility of local government, and as a council member and as chair of the Budget Committee, I will work with my colleagues to ensure that our public safety personnel have the resources they need to be successful and to protect our communities. I'm still in shock that a shooting of this magnitude happened right here in San Diego, and there are still some unanswered questions. The SDPD is continuing its thorough investigation, and my office is here as a resource to them and to the constituents of my district as we grapple with this tragedy. Thank you.
Brian, you want to say a few words?
Good morning. At 6:08 p.m. last night, the Metro Zone Emergency Command and Data Center received a call transfer from San Diego Police reporting 2 gunshot wound victims at the apartment complex. Engine 35 and Medic 41 responded. Engine 35 arrived at 6:12, a 4-minute response with Medic 41 close behind. They were asked to stand back as this was a police activity and it needed to be cleared in. At 6:18, they were cleared in. At the same time, one of the apartment building security members transported 3 victims to the side of the engine and medic ambulance. They rendered treatment and all 3 were transported to Scripps La Jolla. A total of 8 were transported, 5 to Scripps Memorial, 2 to Scripps Mercy, 1 to Sharp Memorial. A total of 3 engines, 1 truck, 1 fast rescue squad, 2 battalion chiefs, 1 shift commander, and 10 ambulances responded for a total of 41 fire and ambulance personnel. I do want to say that the training has paid off. We have trained extensively with the San Diego Police Department for just this kind of emergency. Both fire and PD unified command quickly, and the end result was a very coordinated response. Thank you.
Go ahead and open up for questions.
Does this particular individual have a violent history in the past?
No criminal history, right? Yeah. I don't believe that we have located any criminal history at this point.
Follow up. No way could family members or friends anticipate that he would react this way? Did anybody say anything about, oh my gosh, I wish we had, et cetera, Chief?
You know, just the statement that I gave is that they had no idea that he would carry out this terrible crime.
Chief, we don't know what led up to this, but you said you don't think this was racially motivated. I just spoke with an individual who attended that party. She told me 5 African Americans, 1 Hispanic, 1 white male, or one male, and that the gunman let a white female who was frantically trying to call 911 go. He says, go, get out of here. She looked at him and she goes, he said, you can go. Have you heard any of this? Does this in any way play into race? Obviously, a majority of the people at that pool party were African American. But does this, are you quite certain that this does not play into race?
We have zero information that this was racially motivated. As my statement earlier is that he was despondent over a breakup of an ex-girlfriend, and these victims were just in his presence at the wrong place at the wrong time when he committed this terrible tragedy.
Chief, do we know anything about a confrontation prior or several times before this shooting between the people that were at the party and the shooter? Had they had some sort of back and forth?
We have no information that they even knew each other.
The gentleman who was for whom the party was for apparently was going out to use the restroom, and he stopped by to talk to this individual. And the individual that let us know about that, who was also at the party, said he couldn't overhear the conversation, but he, as he was identified, meaning the birthday individual, probably was trying to invite him to the party. Do you have any knowledge of that conversation and what Sellis may have said back to him before he began firing?
Our investigators, our homicide teams, we have more than one homicide team, are reaching out to all witnesses to get full statements as to exactly who said what, when. I don't have that information. The information, he has 1 handgun register room that we've been able to find, and that is a 45 Sig Sauer that was bought, I believe, 3 years ago today. We don't at this point know exactly how many rounds were fired by him, by our police officers. The investigation will determine that. I will tell you is that there were numerous rounds. He was on the lounge chair while he was shooting. He was on the lounge chair, but at one point we know that he did get up from the lounge chair.
Some say that he was drinking a bottle of beer when this shooting started. Did that happen, and then did he get on the phone? Because the witnesses I spoke to said he was laying back, drinking a bottle of beer, and he started to fire, and they didn't know what to do.
Yeah, there was numerous witnesses. The different witnesses saw different things, and so we are making sure that we speak to all the witnesses. As I said, we do know that he was on the cell phone talking with his ex-girlfriend while he was continuing to shoot. One of the victims does live at the complex. Do we know that? Well, I don't know at this time. Again, that's part of, yes, we are seeking a warrant, and that's part of the investigation, and we're going to make sure that it's done thoroughly, methodically, comprehensively. Don't have any additional information to release at this time on that.
Chief, were there 7 shot and 1 injured, or what?
There was 7 victims. There was a total of 7 gunshot victims and 1 additional victim that was not shot but broke a bone fleeing the area.
Was Sellis on the phone when he was shot by officers?
I don't have that information at this time. We have not released that, no.
Prior to officers arriving, did any civilians try and intervene? We saw the lounge chairs that got thrown into the pool. Was there a scuffle? What took place prior to that?
Again, the investigation will determine all that. The timeline that I gave you is the information that we have right now. Our investigators, as I said, more than 1 but 2 homicide teams, numerous people to interview, as you can imagine, not just this large party that was going on in the pool area, witnesses, the victims, but also a lot of people that might have been in the area. It's a large complex, so we have a lot more work to be done. We just wanted to update you today, and we thank you all for being here. As more information becomes available and we're able to release that information, we will. Thank you very much.
All right, that's Chief Shelley Zimmerman along with the mayor and other first responders there as we learn more. And the more we learn about the shooting, the more senseless it seems. This gunman targeting innocent people at a pool party yesterday, Peter Sellis, who apparently was distraught over a recent breakup.
Yeah, some of the key points here from the chief. She says there's no evidence that race played a factor. The victims were people of color, African American, as well as 1 Latino victim, and she's saying that they just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time when the gunman decided to act out, had his ex-girlfriend on the phone and wanted her to hear what he was doing. We want to get to 10 News reporter Mary McKenzie, who is live at Scripps La Jolla, the hospital there, because Mary, we heard some good news from the chief saying that it looks as though all the patients who were, a couple of them critically hurt, are going to survive.
A very, very good update, Virginia. And Jason, good morning once again to you. We did talk with Demetrius Griffin earlier this morning, first by phone, then he came down to give us, to speak to us on camera. He walked us through the events of last night. It's a moment that he says changed his life forever. He's at the hospital now here in La Jolla visiting those friends that thankfully are expected to survive. He recounted the moments of sheer terror. His hands were shaking as he described being just a handful of yards away from the gunman. He remembers watching Peter Sellis. He watched him for some time. He remembers him coming in, sitting down at the pool without any expression at all. Then after watching him, he and a friend agreed something wasn't right. You heard the police chief say no evidence suggests that race was involved in any way, but Demetrius says he and his friend saw things differently.
What's really disturbing to me is the fact that during our conversation, Maestro actually said, it looks like this guy doesn't like black people. That is something that's been replaying in my head over and over again.
And again, you heard the police chief say that there is no other reason that this group was targeted but their mere presence. Innocent people having a party at the wrong place at the wrong time when a distraught man made a terrible choice to commit unspeakable violence. So again, Demetrius tells me he came here to the hospital to check on his friend Key, who was the one celebrating a birthday. His birthday is actually today, so a very good update that all of the people who are in the hospital are expected to survive this shooting. Just maybe the only bright spot out here this morning as we learn more about this senseless act of violence. We're live in La Jolla. Mary McKenzie, 10 News.
Thank you, Mary. Now, as you heard the police chief, she talked more about Peter Sellis, who was the suspected gunman on that day. And we've also been learning more about him from the place where this happened.
Yeah, and then that's where reporter Mimi Alcala is live there still as police investigate this. Mimi.
Jason, Virginia, now we just heard police say that they believe that the motive behind this shooting was Sellis's breakup with his ex-girlfriend days before. And check this out, where we are now, that pool where you see that crime scene tape, that is where he carried out his shooting spree. And police say he was on the phone with his girlfriend during that attack. But despite living here in this luxury complex where he did live, Bankruptcy filings show that he had some major financial troubles. He filed for bankruptcy back in 2015, and the documents reveal he owed thousands of dollars to several local medical centers and a number of credit card companies, racking up more than $100,000 in debt. According to court records, Celis separated from his wife years ago. He was also a father with 2 children and a stepson. Celis' bankruptcy attorney confirmed to us that that is him still up on a photo on Mossy Ford's website under the staff section. Documents show he worked there for more than 5 years as a service technician, but Mossy Ford's management wouldn't comment to us other than saying their thoughts and prayers are with the victims. Now, one of the apartment residents here I spoke with says she saw the shooter just sitting there, didn't recognize him as one of her neighbors. She describes how terrifying the moments were as she, her husband, and children watched the chaos unfold.
It just was a nightmare. My kids were crying and just was a terrible event. I feel sorry for those family members that have to go through what they have to go through.
And the mood here at La Jolla Crossroads obviously very sad today. One man who cleans the pool regularly told us the area is usually just filled with laughter, especially on a sunny day like today, but today he called it eerily quiet. We're live in La Jolla. Mimi Alcala, 10 News.
All right, Mimi, thank you very much. 10 News will stay on top of updates on this pool party shooting, and certainly as the victims recover, we'll bring you that as well as updates on the shooter's past.